Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Personalizing your content marketing and why this is very, very important. Now, I know the goal for every coach, consultant, or small to medium business is to generate leads and grow their business. And the last thing you would have wanted is for anyone to get to know you in a way that you don't feel comfortable. But I beg to differ, and I'm here to tell you that humans actually seek out for other human beings in order for them to connect. Yes, we might call our clients, a B2C market or a B2B market, but there's what's called human to human marketing, which is H to H. And it's actually the best way for you to actually stand out in this competitive market today. Do you know what your clients are going through in their health? Do you know what your clients are going through in their wealth creation strategies or the relationships that they have? These are the day-to-day problems that we need to seek out in order to solve, the things that keep our customers and our clients up at night in order for them, to have a happier existence. But how do they then connect with the solutions that we're putting out there if we're not actually showing up first in their news feeds or showing up in spaces that they seek out for these answers? And I can imagine you as a coach, consultant, or small to medium business, you're probably engaged in all the communities, you're creating the content out there, but are you actually connecting with the people you're going to be demanding money off of? All right, I say this with utmost love and respect, especially from the podcast that I did yesterday. And if you haven't checked it out, that's season number 4, episode 20. All right, where we were talking about other ways for you to connect with your content if you're getting tired and want to get yourself out of a marketing rut. And then I got a lot of people reaching out to me saying, "Oh, you're talking about personalizing content. How do I do that in such a way that doesn't appear sleazy?" Or it's just talking about myself in an audience that is seeking to solve problems, not seeking to know people on the internet out there. But I here to tell you that so many coaches and consultants in business today, they actually think about customers or the clients they're going to be serving in terms of the target market or the segment, which is either B2B or B2C or whatever it is. But is this really the way forward if you actually want to create interactions that drive results? Now, that's a question you need to be asking yourself right now. People engage with other human beings. The people that you're going to be asking money off of, they have families, they have relationships, they have problems, they have issues. They are also a brother, a sister, a mother that somebody looks up to. How are you connecting with that person in order for them to actually, find out if you're the best solution provider for whatever problem they might be having? And this is why I want to introduce you to human marketing, which simply is the best way to actually stand out in a competitive market today. Let's say you're giving out maybe consulting or training or information or expertise. All that information is on the internet. And you might hate me right now. All that you teach can be Googled. All right. Somebody can literally Google whatever it is that you're teaching right now, but they might want to hear your own story because your life story and your experience are totally different, and how you have engaged with that audience makes a complete, frame of reference that they might not have thought of. Like the reason why I actually do what I do is because literally I am passionate about helping coaches and consultants and small business owners grow their business because I know what it means to come from nothing. You see, I was born in a small town in Zimbabwe, in Africa. I don't know if you know where that is. If not, look it up. And for us growing up, life was pretty tough. Just think of what's happening in the current first world right now, where inflation is rife. You don't get fuel, and there's no food, in the store shelves. We had that for almost 30 years when I was growing up. So we didn't even have a lot of money or any hope that I would amount to anything. And in those years, I literally learned how to connect with other people in order for us to get the next meal. All right. So we didn't actually have role models because everybody was in survival mode. So we didn't have anybody, who was out there to inspire us to want more, be more, and have more. Everybody was in survival mode. But my life changed when I got a bright-eyed Australian teacher who came to work at our school, and she showed me a whole life that I never knew, existed out there, and how you can literally use your talent to help others be and have a happier existence. And she actually taught me that there was a whole nother world outside of my little small town that I was living in. A whole world full of infinite possibilities for people who actually dreamed big and had the courage to actually follow those dreams. And the rest of my time in school, I worked my butt off to learn as much as I could in order for me to be able to show up for other people and be their role model like I also had, in my life. So that's the reason why everything that I do has to have a lasting impact, has to have a lot of legacy inside of it. And that's why I do what I do with passion. And that's why you're able to connect with me, because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for generations to come. I'm doing this for Sally, who's listening to this podcast in 2048 and, is wondering, wow, these people have come a long way. That's what people need to connect with. So I can understand, as a coach or consultant in the modern world, it actually feels like a big oxymoron or a big contradiction, because people want the latest in technology and the experiences, that, are out of this world. Yet they crave for personalization and human interaction. In a world of automation, people still want a hug. People still want to see a smile. People still want to engage with other human beings. And how are you supposed to meet both of these demands, automating at scale while actually giving hugs in the process? Let me tell you something. In order for you to create strong relationships with your audience, it's actually important for you to remember that your audience is human first, and then they are customer second. They are a brother first, and then customer second. They are a father first, and then customer to you second. They are a mother first, and then customer to you second. They're not, staying up at night wondering, where can I buy the next consulting? Where can I buy some coaching or training packages? They are sitting there looking at, how can I connect more with the people around me so that whatever they're doing has meaning, and each and every one of the people that they're around has a happier existence. So that's why people need to interact with people. They don't want to interact with your chatbot. They don't want to interact with your automated email marketing. They want to interact with a human being that happens to be you. Right now, you're listening to me while you're walking your dog, or you're sitting on the toilet, or you're sitting in a public transport, or whatever it is that you're doing right now. You are doing human things while you're listening to another human being tell you, how to actually market yourself in a way that is authentic. Human beings will engage with other real human people, especially when you're operating, as a coach or consultant. Never forget that even in the B2B space, those companies, those big accounts, there's Sally from marketing, there's Sally, from human resources. That is an actual person who's got feelings, who's also afraid they might lose their job if they engage somebody who's not up to scratch. Of course, you want to fulfill their business need and everything else, but you have to go through that gatekeeper, that person who is going through stuff in their life. Have you engaged that person? If they need a hug today, are you the person that can rush off to say, hey, things are not working in my business? Can I talk to you? Never forget that we're dealing with human beings first. And if you want to fulfill a business need, those people that you're going to be selling to, or people that are going to be buying from you, have blood in their veins. They feel pain. Are you addressing those pains? Are you actually showing that you can help them by actually helping them? I did mention my story when I was growing up. As a kid, I never really liked those what do you call those? I don't even know what they're called. I never really liked those magazines with superheroes and things of that nature, because I didn't think they were actual human beings. I've forgotten the name of those. As a kid, I was one of those kids who actually snuck in with a flashlight in my room, and I waited patiently for my parents to shut the door so I could dive under my covers and read. I loved stories that had human interest. I liked to relate to the characters that actually made me laugh, cry, and anything in between. And one of the reasons why I loved reading is the connection that you feel with the characters. Anytime you connect with a movie and you cry during the movie, is because that movie is taking you through a journey. All right, that movie is taking you through some sort of an experience that you get to meet the real you. That's underneath all these layers that we put on ourselves in society. Is that what you're doing with your content? Because many coaches and consultants think that they can only just provide content that's of an educational, nature. But that's not what people are looking for. People are seeking to belong. People are seeking to be challenged. People are seeking connection. People are seeking peace of mind, status. They're seeking to be valued. Only human content with human interest can actually get people to have and experience these feelings. And that, my friend, is how you create for and relate to the audience that you're going to be demanding money off of. As long as you're adding value and you're being authentic, you're creating excellent content if you make people feel something after they've engaged with you. So what is this human-to-human marketing that I'm talking about? I mean, human-to-human marketing, if you're NADs, and these are stats for NADs, for those people that just want, real definitions of things. It's an actual human-centric approach to your marketing. And this model is based on actual responsible marketing, when you actually care about the actual result people are paying you for. It's actually about meeting the customer's need while you're demonstrating that you are human and you're trustworthy. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And every piece of content that you're going to be putting out there, every marketing, every touch point have to be enhancing the trust that people have with your brand. And relationships only formulate when you literally trust the other human being. And this happens even between businesses, between customers, between your prospects. They should be based on trust and long-term trust and respect. Not just because you've showed up in somebody's news feed or anything of that nature. Because once you start doing human-centric marketing, I think it was Jeff Bezos who said, let's forget about all this advertising and really connect with the people that we're going to be, demanding money off of. And they cut out all this advertising, which was just speaking, to many people, which is just spraying and praying. And they started, really personalizing the experience that each and every person got when they entered, the shop. Yes, they were selling books, but they started personalizing what books you would, buy based on your previous purchases. And they started taking note and observing what people actually wanted. Because the benefit of all this marketing is clear. It actually ensures that your marketing strategy delivers the best possible results. You're not spraying and praying. You're actually connecting with the people's pain. You're connecting them with the right solution and not just hoping they're just going to want something just because you're presenting it to them. It's simpler than it seems. And it requires next to no investment. You might be asking, how? How can you do that at scale? Because it simply just requires you to connect. with other human beings. Since you might have a team or you might have, automation or whatever it is working behind your marketing, this should actually be easy. When somebody shows up to your, inbox, or somebody shows up with them, to your marketing or whatever you have done, all you've got to do is really showcase to them that you have acknowledged their presence. We get a lot of inquiries, and the first thing that I do is I put myself, I record, myself on Zoom or whatever tool that we have, and I really say thank you for reaching out to us. If you want us to have a chat, why don't we schedule a call instead of just responding to them, just in case they've sent that inquiry to hundreds of other, digital marketing agencies. It actually makes us stand out because I've taken the time to literally respond to them and acknowledge them as a human being. So when you focus on building human-to-human connections with your audience, they're actually gonna be forgiving when you actually make a mistake, because they know you're not a robot. You are human as well. But if you want to showcase that you are perfect, you've got everything perfect, they will not, forgive you when you make a mistake. Because testing is allowed and is encouraged, especially when people trust that you've got their best interest at heart, and it's not just about a transaction that you're talking to them about it. If you show people that you are literally helping them by actually helping them, that will now create that trust, which makes it easy for them to allow you to experiment with them, and they actually encourage it for you to try out new things. Because if you humanize your marketing, you're actually building stronger relationships with your target audience, and you actually have more of an influence on them for them to actually make a decision to buy. So what are the ways for you to actually personalize this content? First of all, anything that you are doing, what you're going through right now is content. What you're experiencing right now is content, because whatever you are going through, somebody else might go through that in the future. And that's the reason why my podcast is always, predicated on answering people's, questions, because what they're going through, somebody might be going through that in the future. So if you're going to be creating content, how do you then, capture all these moments or all these, episodes that you can actually leverage off of? You can create weekly inspiration blog posts. What is happening in your market right now? What are people going through that you have a solution for? Maybe you can do this through maybe the books that you have read, or the books that you want to read, or maybe on health, on wealth, on relationships, or maybe you're a financial planner on personal finance. This can be a good way for you to actually educate your audience and provide them with an insight into what your actual interests are. And if you've got a personal story that they can relate to, throw that in. Or maybe you want to recommend them this podcast. Recommend your favorite podcast to your audience. Show them that you are not just sitting on the information that you learned in 1993. You're constantly educating yourself, and everything that you learn is an opportunity for you to share that knowledge with other people and introduce them to new conversations, introduce them to new lines of, thinking that will actually make their lives better. Because if you're going through stuff, 9 times out of 10, somebody else is also going through the same issues. So if you can actually help them, by actually helping them not to go through the pain that they're going through, you, my friend, would have created such a unique, positioning in people's lives, which means you are literally helpful because you're helping people by actually helping them. So you can share the blog posts or maybe content, from other consultants in your industry that are doing the same, or other coaches that maybe have different modalities than the ones that you have, because everyone is going through stuff. So if you actually support other people, they will return that favor. And you can actually start creating those relationships from people that are even in your own industry who will share you and give you access to their own audiences. And you can leverage off of that. We're always on social media and we're always, liking other people's posts. We're always liking Kim Kardashian, maybe pretending to eat meat that she's not eating. Why don't you also show up in other people's newsfeed while you're using your own personal photos on social media and maybe on your website? If you go on my site right now, you will definitely know exactly what I look like or what I used to look like 5 years ago. I'm not shy of showing you who I am, so that there's not going to be that, unclearness of who you're dealing with. Everybody accepts and knows who I am, and I'm not shy, or hide behind, my website or content just so that people would just be surprised when they meet me on a Zoom call. I mean, social media is a great space for you to interact with your audience. That's where most of the conversations are made. It actually allows you to share information in a fast and fun way that you can literally, train people what it is that you do and how you do it in a way that is, light-hearted, so that when they do show up on your website, it's easy for them to connect with you. And one other thing that you need to have is have a consistent tone of voice. The way you speak to your audience is essential. All right, it's how you communicate your brand's humanity. Are you fun? Are you professional? Are you fun-loving? What do you bring to the table? So for you to effectively communicate, your human-to-human strategy, you're definitely going to need to be real, because you're going to need to show up in that tone of voice every now and again. Because if you start changing it up, people might be confused. So be real, because authenticity is about saying what the reader needs to hear, not what they not what they want to hear. Be consistent. All right? Don't just say stuff because you think that's what people want to hear. Show people you can help them by actually helping them. And have that empathetic voice inside of you, because let your audience know that you understand them. Let your audience know that you've been through what they're going through right now. That you've been in their shoes. And that makes you personal. Because once you get to know your customers' names, their likes and dislikes, it makes it easy for you to create content that resonates with them. And once you do that, your followers, they might want to know a little bit more about your business. So they might want to connect with you or your team. And they can do that by actually seeing your face, understanding your hobbies, knowing your involvement with your community. Whatever it is that you're doing, share with us. Because all of those things can be communicated through your social media presence. And in addition to maybe just designing a whiz-bang website out there, make sure it's user-friendly so that people can literally scroll through and get all the information that they need. And you should also include maybe some images that mean something special to you. That's how humans connect with other human beings. And while you're doing that, you just simplify the communication that you have with people so you don't have to explain yourself in the future. Because if you become too formal, it becomes too stuffy, or you become overly complicated, or if you are using jargon, you can create a barrier between you and your audience. Remember, these people are looking to learn from you. You don't necessarily have to show off to them. Build rapport. Simplify how you communicate with this audience and talk to your audience as equals. Talk with them, not at them. So you want to be conversational with them. Speak to your audience like they're real people, not robots that are just getting information from God knows where. And use familiar language so you can engage with your audience with your newsletters, with your blogs, with your podcasts, everything. All right. And you want to be genuine in the information that you're providing. And another way for you to do this is for you to be personal in your email campaigns. When you actually start engaging people, with emails, you literally create that interdependence that your customers need to have, because you become that source of information that they're craving for. And in the process, just show them your personality and give them the information that they need. Just because you're a coach, consultant, and you're offering training and consulting there, it doesn't mean you have to have fun. Have fun. Decorate your newsletters, giggle, put gifts on your social media. These are all elements that can be, a great way to break up, that whole stiffiness that we have as consultants. And in the process, just be honest and transparent about who you are. Because being honest is the only way that you'll be able to build solid relationships based on trust. Remember, we spoke about the trust earlier on. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. You need to be honest with your audience about the decisions that, they're going to be making. Don't sugarcoat anything just because you want to get likes. Show them, why are you collecting their data? What do you intend to do with it? Why are you doing certain things? Why would you allow machines to track the behavior of people if it's not of benefit to them? And in the process, tell your story. Like I told you my story of how I came from Africa and I didn't have any role models. You can develop maybe 5 consistent brand stories that actually encompass who you are, what you do, and the true value that you provide. Take your time with these stories and just make sure that each and every version is true to your brand and has some sort of educational piece behind it. And then you can repeat these stories in different ways across all your platforms, your website, your LinkedIn, your social media channels, anywhere that you have an opportunity to tell your story. I mean, for me, I love whiskey, and it shows up in some of my Instagram posts. And I also love my family. I love, going out, and it also shows up in some of my social media platforms. And if you go on my About Us page, you will get a glimpse of who I am exactly. So in the quest of you personalizing your content, you want to be true to who you are and your brand, because people respond the most to authenticity. And use your story to make your younger, staying up late person who was reading all these stories proud, because and make it useful to the people that are going to be connecting with you. All right? Even if you're going to be using automation at scale, you want to blend all of that automation by including your stories in there. Of course, you can't reach everyone all at the same time. Automated experiences via email, SMS, and maybe live chat can significantly help you leverage telling that story, but also personalize it. And once you do that, engage with those that take time to acknowledge you, because that's what social media is made for. It's not for you to speak at the people. It's for you to join the conversations. It's designed for human-to-human interactions, whether it's casual or friendly conversations. The people that you're going to be spending the most time with are the people that you need to be creating solutions for. So you want to answer questions, respond to comments, post lighthearted and meaningful content that actually helps people, move further in their journey towards connecting with you, or whichever way you want to connect with them. And also when people, acknowledge you, show them up in your social media. It's called user-generated content. And when you go live, engage that audience. Ask for their opinion, because people will always support a wall that they helped to build. All right? Those are all great ways for you to get to know your audience and engage with them directly. And once you do that, you want to bring all the stories to life in a new and interesting way every single day. And guess what? The more you do that, you will literally leverage, your marketing spend, because people now seek you out when you're not there, and you're actually connecting with people, and it makes it easy for people to, share your work out there. And if they become customers, then these people will, pay, stay, and refer. I want you to start getting personal with the content, because if you literally leverage anything of what we've spoken about, you've created a two-way communication with your audience. And this is quite necessary, because then people will start telling you what they want, and all you got to do is go out and create it for them. And once you do that, you now have wallet share, instead of you trying to fight, for existence and to be seen out there in the marketplace. Let me tell you something. Yes, we need to be providing educational content out there, but that's not all that people need to connect with us for. People need to connect with those that they know, like, and trust. And how are they going to know you if you're not putting out your best self out there? I can't wait to see you using the human-to-human marketing so you can start building stronger relationships with your target audience and have more influence over their decision to buy from you. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au